Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV in conjunction with Colfax High School presents Viking Pre-Game. A look at today's Colfax Vikings girls game. And now, Viking Pre-Game.
Good evening and welcome to the NLWN-TV studios, where tonight it's potentially championship night for the Colfax Vikings. Rick Olson here, and soon I'll head over to our other studio to join Dan Petchow as we're getting ready to remotely bring you all the play-by-play action of tonight's contest. The Vikings are trying to capture their third straight share of the Dunn-St. Croix Conference Championship as they take on the Spring Valley Cardinals. A Viking victory tonight will leave them with at least a one-game lead over the Durand Panthers with only one game to go. Now, coming up in this edition of Viking Pregame, we'll take a look at tonight's matchup between the Spring Valley Cardinals and the Colfax Vikings. Then we'll get Coach Serrar's perspective on tonight's game in Coach's Corner. Following that, we'll remotely bring you all the play-by-play action of tonight's game. So it's time to get ready for some exciting high school girls basketball. All that coming up right after this brief timeout. You're tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back to Viking Pregame, where Dan Petchow and I are getting ready to remotely bring you all the action of tonight's girls basketball game between the 1-14 Spring Valley Cardinals, who are 1-11 in the Dunn-St. Croix Conference, and the 11-3 Colfax Vikings, who are currently 11-1 and leading the conference. A victory tonight would capture for the Vikings at least a tie with the Durand Panthers for the Dunn-St. Croix Conference Championship, with a game remaining between the Panthers and the Vikings on Thursday. Now, back on January 12th, the Vikings dominated the Spring Valley Cardinals 75-24. The Vikings were led in that game by senior forward Bailey Bradford and junior guard Jasmine Best, who scored 12 points each. The Vikings are currently riding a 9-game winning streak, including the last Friday night's big victory, 61-46 over the Mondovi Buffaloes. Leading the way in scoring for the Vikings in that game was junior forward Emily Bertram-Schofield, who had a huge night, scoring 25 points. She was followed by junior swing forward Maddie Barstead, who pitched in 13. In addition, junior guard Jasmine Best and senior guard Addison Olson added 10 and 8 points respectively. Thus far this season, the Vikings are led by Barstead, who's scoring just about 14 points per game. She's followed by the aforementioned Best, Bertram-Schofield, and Olson, and freshman McKenna Shipman, who all score nearly 7 points per game. Barstead is also the Vikings' leading rebounder, pulling down about 7.5 boards per game. Now, the last time the Spring Valley Cardinals faced the Vikings, they were led in scoring by freshman forward Charlie Vaness, who scored 10 points. Now, this season, the Cardinals are averaging 35 points per game while giving up 63. That compares to the Vikings, who are averaging nearly 59 points per game while giving up 43. The Cardinals are led this season by freshman guard Mara Ducklow, who's putting up nearly 8.5 points per game. Now, behind her are the aforementioned Vanessa and senior guard Maddie Olson, who are contributing 6 and 5.5 points per game, respectively. Leading rebounder for the Cardinals is senior forward Kyra Schilling, who's pulling down 8 boards per game. Now, coming up next, following this timeout, we'll get the coach's perspective on tonight's game between the Vikings and the Cardinals as we chat with Viking head coach Courtney Serrar on Coach's Corner. You're tuned to Viking pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you'll go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Time now to see what the coaches have to say. It's Coach's Corner, what they look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. And now, Coach's Corner.
Today we're talking with Viking girls head coach Courtney Serrar. And Coach, last Friday night, the Vikings took a big step towards winning their 3rd straight Dunn St. Croix Conference Championship with a really strong 61-46 victory over the Mondovi Buffaloes. Your comments about that game?
Yeah, and we knew it was a must-win for us to stay in first place and to, continue on with our goal of being Dunn St. Croix champs. And we did just that. It was a little rough at times, but the girls persevered. And, we knew that they were going to come ready to play. They beat us once in the year, and it would make their year again to beat us. So we knew we were going to have to be ready. And I thought the girls handled, the adversity really well. We never panicked and, did some big things down the stretch to win that game.
Now, that victory means that the Vikings have a 1-game lead in the Dunn St. Croix Conference with only 2 games left. And tonight, a Viking victory over the Spring Valley Cardinals will lock up no worse than a tie for the conference championship. Now, what can you tell us about some of the challenges the Cardinals present?
Yeah, they're young. They have a lot of raw talent. They have a couple girls who are pretty tall, pretty athletic. So we're going to have to make sure we do a great job boxing out. And I also think, just smart help. That was one of the areas that we needed to work on in Mondovi, was just making sure we're not, fouling and sending them to the free throw line, because, you can't guard free throws. So just do a better job there. And, I know the girls are going to come ready to play there just as excited as I am about, one victory in their conference champ. I know they're going to come ready to play tonight.
Now, the last time these two teams met back on January 12th, the Vikings came away with a 75-24 win. Now, the girls also have a really big game with Durand on Thursday, which could determine whether the Vikings have to share the championship or even if they win it at all. Now, with a 51-point win over the Cardinals last time, is there any worry that the girls might be looking past the game, which, is a really dangerous thing to have happen?
Yeah, I think just with this year in general, we've pretty much established that you just have to take it one day at a time. So, we're not even promised tomorrow. So we're going to worry about tonight and take care of business at Spring Valley, and then we'll turn our focus on to Durand. So I know the girls know that what they need to do to win tonight, and I'm confident that they'll show up and do that.
Are there any Viking players who need to work on anything special tonight to maybe get them ready for that game with Durand and the WIAA playoffs that are coming up?
I think every game is a learning experience. Every, opportunity that you get to step on the floor, whether it be for practice or a game, is just a chance for you as an individual to get better and for our team to improve. So regardless of who we're playing, I know that the girls understand that and appreciate the opportunity to play and just, continue moving in the right direction.
Anybody you want to point out who's come on really strong this last part of the season that's really helped push the Vikings into this spot?
I was really proud of Emily Burcham on Friday night. She had 14 rebounds and 24 points, a double-double. That was huge for us. But, like I've said a couple times, is we just have so many kids who can, contribute and put the ball in the basket and play great defense. And, it's always someone else's night, it seems like. So Just interested to see, who's going to be, who's going to have the hot hand tonight. It feels like it's been somebody different every night for a while. So, but, like I said, they just have to challenge each other too. And, I think if one of these nights when we all come firing on the, same cylinders, we will be tough. And I'm hoping we're saving our best basketball for the end, because I know that's we're going to need it.
Now, how are the girls health-wise? Any injury or illness things we need to be aware of?
No, yeah, we're pretty healthy. Looking forward to hopefully staying that way. So, no injuries to report or anything like that. So.
Well, good luck on tonight's game, Coach Serrar. And how about getting that three-peat tonight?
Yeah, we're excited. So, hoping to come home conference champs.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner, where they look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Welcome back to Viking Pregame. Tonight, the Vikings have an opportunity to secure at least a share of the Dunn St. Croix Conference Championship with a victory over the Spring Valley Cardinals. That would represent a three-peat for the Vikings as conference champions. The Vikings are currently 11-1, and the Cardinals are 1-11 in the Dunn St. Croix Conference. The Cardinals would like nothing more than to spoil a Viking celebration. So the stage is set for some exciting high school girls basketball, and we'll remotely bring you all the action right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV. Now, in just a moment, I will head over to our other studio and join my colleague Dan Petchow as we remotely bring you all the play-by-play action of tonight's girls' game between the Colfax Vikings and the Spring Valley Cardinals. That's all coming up next. You've been tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
You've been tuned to Viking Pregame with a look at today's Colfax Vikings girls game. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV. Stay tuned. Coming up next is live Colfax Viking basketball.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
NLWN-TV is excited to present NWARCI's Racing Action. Next Saturday, February 6th, we will present racing from Cal's Resort on Rock Dam Lake in Willard, Wisconsin. Join us at 10:45 a.m. from Rock Dam Lake in Willard. These races are sponsored by Cal's Rock Dam Resort in Willard. That's NWARCI's Racing Action on Saturday, February 6th on NLWN-TV.
Colfax Viking basketball is on the air.
They're at the free throw line to Addison from 3. She hit it! Addison Olsen with the 3-point.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV proudly presents tonight's Colfax Viking girls varsity basketball game.
Bomb being chased down and finally pulled away by Barstead, who puts it up and in.
Join us as we head out to the gym for tonight's Viking basketball.
Up to Best. Best drives into the lane, puts up a shot, rattles around and in. And the play of our national anthem. Rick Olson here along with Dan Petchow. And we're getting ready to bring you all the play-by-play action of tonight's game between the Colfax Vikings and the Spring Valley Cardinals.
All right, Ron. Cardinals have a tall task tonight.
And we've
However,
got
it can be done.
Some competing sounds, and we'll just take care of those. There we go. And it kind of sounds like we're in a cavern here, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh well.
I'm in the cave.
Yeah, we're in the man cave.
We are.
There we are. Watching some high school basketball. It doesn't get better than this. And they're getting ready to do the starting lineups. And maybe, Dan, if you want to do them as they announce them on there.
Yeah.
I believe they'll probably be just numeric.
So we'll do it by Colfax first here. They're going to go with number 10, senior Addison Olson. Number 14, senior Bailey Bradford. Number 20, senior Marissa Harmon. Number 22 is junior Maddie Barstead. And number 40, senior Jasmine Paulus for the Spring Valley Cardinals. They're going to go with junior number 3, Lily Ninneman. Senior number 14, Maddie Olson.
Check that. That was Paige Peabody, a junior. Now Maddie Olson.
Maddie Olson, senior number 14. We have Kira Schilling, number 24. And that gives us our 5, right?
I'm not sure whether it was Charlie Vanessa or Mira Ducklow that came out last.
So we got a change in the lineups here.
So anyway, it's the usual 5 for the Vikings. Olson, Bradford, Harmon, Barstead, and Paulus. And the Vikings will inbound the ball. Harmon inbounds it to Olson, who brings it across the timeline. Stops between the circles, feeds it over to the right side to Paulus. And her pass gets intercepted immediately by Spring Valley. Down the floor they come. That's Maddie Olson, puts it up no good. They get the second shot, and she got fouled. And again, we want to thank Spring Valley High School for the video feed. It's a good quality feed from Spring Valley tonight. First free throw goes up and in. If she would turn slightly, we could tell who it is at the line. And the second shot is on the way. It's also no good. And it was Maddie Olson at the line. Addie Olson brings it down, tosses it across the timeline for the Vikings, takes it to the right side, to Paulus on the left, back to Olson on the right. To the right wing to Harmon, feeds it to the lane to Barstead, feeds it underneath, then back out to Olson. Olson drives down the right side, out to Harmon in the right corner, puts up the shot, and she hit the 3. Vikings on top, 3-1. And I've seen other Spring Valley broadcasts, and they've had a clock in the corner, but no such thing this time, so we're just going to have to go by the grace of God as far as what time is left. Olson puts up a 3 for Spring Valley, and the rebound was chased down by the Vikings, and the outlet pass was behind Harmon. She didn't know it was coming to her, and it goes out of bounds, so Spring Valley has it. They toss it into the backcourt. And now they come around between the circles over to the left side. It was Peabody. Then down underneath to Ducklow. And ball got tipped. Olsen comes across the timeline with it for the Vikings. Gets it out to Barstead. Over to Paulus on the left. Over to Olsen on the right. To Barstead in the lane. Turns around. Tries to put the shot up. It's no good. Rebound chased down by Bradford. Gets it out to Paulus. Back down to Bradford from the left corner. She puts up the shot. It rattles in. Three-pointer for Bailey Bradford. 6-1, Vikings on top. Vikings looking to get a share of the conference championship with a victory tonight. And we have a scramble for the ball in the backcourt. Barstead rolled up on the backside of Ninneman, and I believe we're going to get a foul on Barstead. And we do. So the Spring Valley Cardinals inbound it. Ball gets tipped by Olsen, but then the Cardinals get it, but then Olsen steals it coming across the timeline, driving down toward the baseline, and she got run into from behind. And that'll be the first foul on the Spring Valley Cardinals. And the Vikings going to inbound it on the baseline. High pass comes out to Barstead, over to Olsen. Swinging it over to the left side to Bradford, back to Olsen. Three-pointer on the way, rattles out and back in. Addison Olsen in, out, and finally in for the three-pointer. 9-1, Vikings on top. Inbound pass, wayward, but picked up by Spring Valley. That's Ninneman feeding it forward, and driving down is Ducklow, and can't get the layup to go in. And the Vikings come away with it. Harmon with it. They get it over to Olsen on the right, to Paulus on the left, then down into the left corner, back out to Paulus, back down to Barstead, then down along the baseline. Whistle, and the ball goes out of bounds. And we have some substitutions happening for both teams. Shipman in for the Vikings. Emily Bertram Schofield. Boy, did she have a big night the other night.
Yeah, 24 points.
And down the floor come the Spring Valley Cardinals. Ducklow with it, taking it over to the right side. Then the pass on that side gets knocked away, and the Vikings come away with it. Barstead across the timeline, feeding it down to Shipman. Baseline jumper is good. Two-pointer by McKenna Shipman. 11-1, Vikings already up by 10. Down the floor comes Spring Valley. They feed it into the forecourt to Peabody. Then over to Ducklow, back out to Peabody. Now over to Flanders. Then they get it over to the left side to Peabody. She tries to get it out to Ducklow, and it gets taken away by Olsen. And they get it over to Best. Best feeds it down to Olsen. Olsen thought about the three-pointer, then takes a two-pointer from the baseline. It's no good. But the rebound taken down by Barstead, and she got fouled on the way up. So Barstead going to go to the line for two. And the first shot's on the way, and it rattles away. No good. And Maddie Barsted's second shot is on the way. It's also no good. And Ducklow brings it down for Spring Valley. She's between the circles, feeds it over to the right side. That's to Peabody now. Back out high to Flanders, then to Maddie Olsen. Maddie feeds it down underneath, and the ball gets taken away by the Vikings. Emily Bertram Schofield taking it down the floor, feeding it off to the right side. Now they get it out high to Best. Best drives the lane, feeds it out to Shipman on the right. Shipman gets it to Best. Best long pass out to Olson. Olson drives the lane, puts it up. It's no good. Rebound knocked around, and it goes out of bounds. It's going to Spring Valley as it bounced off a Colfax Viking right before it went out of bounds. Peabody has it. She's double-teamed in the backcourt. Gets it over to Ducklow. Ducklow's pass goes out of bounds. It was intended for Vanessa.
Good job by number 10, Addison Olson for Colfax there, too. She actually got 2 plays there. She got the Spring Valley girl to lose the ball, and then she got over to block the other girl and get the turnover.
And the Vikings inbound it. Irwin inbounds to Best. Cross-court pass over to the left side. And Bertram Schofield, we have a timeout called, I believe. Nope, they're going to say it was a travel on Emily Bertram Schofield. I didn't see her stop her dribble ever. And I've always been wondering how they can call that a travel if you don't stop the dribble. Long pass down into the forecourt for Spring Valley. Turnaround was Flanders. Then they kick it out higher to Peabody. She's in the lane, struggling with it. Vikings scrapping on the floor, and we're going to get a jump ball called. And the possession arrow is in favor of the Spring Valley Cardinals. Inbound pass, shot goes up, it's no good. Rebound taken away by the Vikings. Irwin stopped before the timeline. Then they feed it back over. And a jumper from the left-hand corner is no good. Rebound by the Vikings, no good. We have a whistle and a foul. And I believe McKenna Shipman is going to the line. 11-1, the Vikings have the lead. First shot is on the way. It's no good. Into the lineup for Spring Valley. Ducklow comes back in. And Kyra Schilling is also back in. Shipman's shot is up, and it's good. 12-1, the Vikings up by 11. Spring Valley inbounds it. It gets stolen by the Vikings. Pass to Shipman down low. No good. She gets her own rebound, puts it back. I checked that. That wasn't Shipman. That was Riley Parker that put it up and in. 14-1. Vikings have the lead. And a timeout on the floor. You're watching Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV. Are your animals feeling a little under the weather? Give the nice folks at Colfax Animal Hospital a call. Bruce Buckley is just what the doctor ordered. In fact, he is the doctor, and he's ready to help. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Give them a call at 715-962-3380.
If you have a high-deductible health plan, opening a health savings account at Dairy State Bank will allow you to save tax-free dollars to pay for a long list of health-related services allowed by the IRS. Dairy State Bank HSAs are serviced locally and work like a regular checking account. You can use a debit card or check to pay for expenses and access your account through online or mobile banking. Visit DairyStateBank.com to learn more about HSAs and online or mobile banking. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
Rick Olson along with Dan Petchow. We're taking a look in at Spring Valley High School as they have the ball, and they're trailing 14-1. They get the ball down into the forecourt. Short jumper that time by Kyra Schilling is good. Vikings up by 11, 14-3. Irwin feeds it down to the baseline. Shot goes up is no good. Putback shot is good. Riley Parker with the 2. 16-3, Vikings on top. Spring Valley inbounds it. That looks like Ducklow. And now they ran out of the screen, and the camera person isn't following. And evidently the shot was no good. Vikings have it. And now that gets taken away, but they're going to say she stepped out of bounds, and it's going to be, well, evidently the Vikings stepped out of bounds. So Ducklow to inbound for Spring Valley. She gets it into Hancock. Ball gets taken away, and we have a whistle and a foul. I think it's going to be on Jasmine Best.
I think it was Spring Valley foul on.
Oh, you're right.
14, Maddie Olson.
You're right. Emily Bertram Schofield with it on the left side, feeds it over to Best on the right. Best feeds it down into the right corner to Irwin, who drives the baseline. Feeds it across the baseline. Shot goes up and no good. Rebound taken down by Spring Valley. Down the floor they come. Feed it over to the left side. That's Olson with it. Takes it over to the free throw line. Gets it back out high to Hancock. Olson drives it into the lane. It's no good. We have a whistle and a foul underneath. That'll be the third foul on the Vikings. So Maddie Olson to the line for Spring Valley. And that shot is up and no good. And no, that's not us at the bottom of your screen there with the headphones on.
Wish it was.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be able to be there. Second shot on the way. And it's no good. Rebound taken down by Barstead. Gets it over to Olson as she brings it down across the timeline. Tosses it there to Paulus. Back over to Olson on the right side. Out high to Barstead, then to Paulus. Back over to Olson on the right, to Paulus on the left. Back to Olson on the right. She drives into the lane, puts up the shot. It rattles around and good. Nice move by Addison Olson to put up the two. 18-3, Vikings on top. Schilling, and they get it up across the timeline. Now feed it down underneath to Maddie Olson, and she puts it in. Now Addie Olson for the Vikings. Feeds it into the forecourt. Over to Paulus. Back to Olson. Back to Paulus. Over to the far side. Pass goes to Olson. Gets tipped, but she gets it. Then gets it to Paulus. To Barstead at the free throw line. Then back to Olson on the right side. Then down into the right corner. Back out to Olson on the right wing. Now they feed it to Barstead in the lane. She hooks it up and in. 20-5, Vikings by 15. Inbound pass. Spring Valley has it. It goes out of bounds, and we have a whistle, and it's going to be Viking ball. The camera person is having a little bit of difficulty keeping up with the action. Hopefully, we're able to figure it out for you. Inbound pass goes to Olson. She's got it between the circles, feeds it over to the left side. Back to Olson. Back to Bradford. Then a cross-court pass, and they're going to say we have an offensive foul. They may have called that on Olson, I think. Or possibly Paulus. It looked like it might have been a 40 he was holding up. And we're going to get another foul. This time it's going to be on Barstead. And we have some substitutions for the Vikings. Inbounding it is Maddie Olson. She gets it into Burkle. Burkle takes it over to the right side, feeds it off there. Drives it over to the lane, then back out to Maddie Olson. Now over on the left wing to Flanders, down into the corner to Burkle. Drives towards the lane, puts it up, no good, and out of bounds, and it's going to be Viking ball. Shipman to inbound it. Into Olsen for the Vikings. She brings it down the floor. Passes it across the timeline to Shipman. Quick pass to Knoll. Back out to Shipman. Over to Olsen on the left. Back to Shipman on the right. She puts up the three. It's no good. Rebound chased down by Spring Valley. And down the floor come the Cardinals. Feeding it down into the left corner is Graham, and she puts the shot up. It's no good. And that's Allison Graham. We have a couple of Grahams out there. Olsen brings it down the floor for the Vikings. They feed it back out to Olsen. Cross-court pass to the left side. Now it's Noel. Back out to Olsen. Puts the three on the way off the back of the iron. No good. Rebound taken down by Schilling for Spring Valley. And now the Cardinals bring it across the floor. Burkle has it on the right side. Loses her footing a little bit. Feeds it out high to Peabody. Peabody takes it down the right side from the baseline. It's no good. Rebound taken down that time by Ducklow, and her shot was no good, and the Vikings come away with it. Olsen with it. Between the circles. Takes it to the right side. Gets it over to Jillian Bovey. Now over on the left side. Back to Olsen on the right. Down to Bovey in the corner. Back out high to Olsen. Swinging it around to the left side to Noel, to Olsen. Down underneath. Nice looking pass and to Bovey, and as she went up, she got fouled. Boy, that was a nice looking play.
Yeah, good job by Addison Olsen again to find Jillian down at the baseline.
And Bovey's first shot is good. Olsen's really come into that point guard role where you just you're the traffic cop out there.
Yeah, she's seen the court really well the last few games. Can kind of find all the open girls out there.
Second shot is on the way. It's also good. 22 to 5. Vikings on top by 17. Spring Valley with it as they bring it down the floor. And there's a turnover down there. We don't know how it happened, but the Vikings threw it away. Spring Valley has it. They come into the forecourt, but Shipman tips it away for the Vikings. And now they come down the floor with Barstad. Or no, check that. That's Best. Get it out to Bertram Schofield. Then down into the left corner. The shot is no good. Spring Valley comes away with it. Burkle with it. Feeds it over to the right side. I believe that was Ninneman over there. Now Graham has it. Out to Burkle. She kind of threw it to herself that time, but it worked. And the shot went up. We have a ball going out of bounds, and it's going to be Viking ball. Shipment inbound for the Vikings. She gets it into Best. Takes her time, coming across the timeline. Gets it over to the right side to Bovey. Tries the pass underneath, intended for Knoll. It got knocked out of bounds. And it's going to be Viking ball. On the baseline. Shipman to inbound it. Gets it into Knoll. They feed it out high to Bertram Schofield. Out to Best. Back over to Knoll on the left. Over to Bovey on the right. Bovey feeds it into the lane. Now they try to get it underneath the Shipman, and not quite something she can handle, and it gets out of bounds. Spring Valley will have the ball. Burkle to inbound. She gets it into Maddie Olsen, but the Vikings take it away, put the shot up. Bovey with the shot and got fouled on the way up. Jillian Bovey to go to the line for a couple. (22 to 5). Vikings on top. First shot by Bovey is in, out, in, and then finally out. Rattled around a little bit. Paulus into the lineup, along with Bertram Schofield for the Vikings. Second shot on the way, and it's no good. Spring Valley comes away with it. Down the floor is Burkle. She stops at the baseline, and she's sitting on the ball. And I think they're calling it as a jump ball. Possession arrow is in favor of the Vikings. So we will have Best to bring it down the floor. Feeding it over to Paulus on the left, back over to Best on the right. Cross court pass over to Bertram Schofield on the left, and the ball gets tipped out of bounds. I checked that was Bertram Schofield underneath. Got to see who that is way over on the far side there. Oh, it's Harmon. From that distance, a 20 and 30 look an awful lot alike. Harmon feeds it into Paulus in the lane, and she put it to the floor, wants to go up. Couldn't quite get it up, but got fouled as she was trying to, and she's going to go to the line for two. Dan had something he was going to say, but sometimes those words just don't come out of Dan's mouth.
Well, I was wondering if it was, we're in the bonus, so I was wondering if maybe it was that. But
first shot is good by Paulus. And the second shot is up. It's no good. Yeah, I think what Dan was trying to get at there is that shot was actually on the floor before the attempted shot, but because it was the bonus, she was there at the line. Spring Valley has it in the forecourt, and we're going to get a whistle and a jump ball as the Vikings tie it up. Possession arrow in favor of the Spring Valley Cardinals. Maddie Olson inbound it for Spring Valley. She feeds it down along the baseline, but the Vikings take it away. Bertram Schofield has it. Now they feed it cross court over to Best, who brings it across the timeline, feeds it down deep to Paulus, who makes one too many passes, I think, that time. She passed it back out to Best, or to Bertram Schofield, actually. And she got fouled, but this has got to be bonus shots. First shot's on the way. It's good. No, it was for two. Yeah, it was for two, but sure didn't look to me like she was shooting. Anyway, and the second shot is up no good. 23-15, 18-point lead for the Vikings. Or check that, it's 24. Scoreboard was a little slow on that first shot that went in. Hancock with it, or check it, it's Hannock. And they feed it down along the baseline, and we have a jump ball being called. Spring Valley has a hard time getting into close contact with Vikings and not giving up a jump ball or a turnover. And the Vikings have it, and they come down the floor. That's part of that aggressive nature that the Vikings have developed the last half of the season. Out to Irwin, three-pointer on the way is no good. Ball gets chased down, and I have no idea who has it because we have a lot of people just standing around watching. It's going to be Viking ball. So, as a foul was called. And Jasmine Best is going to go to the line for the 1-on-1. She must have been fouled while chasing the ball. First shot is up. It's no good. Rebound taken down by the Vikings. Ball gets off into the corner. Vikings have it. Feeding it out high, wide, and right to Irwin, to Paulus on the left, down to Harmon, and then down to the baseline. Up and in by Emily Bertram Schofield, and she drew the harm as she went up. That'll make it 26-5, Vikings on top. And Emily Bertram Schofield. Well, they say it didn't go in, evidently. It sure looked to me like it went in. Well, she made the free throw, so that's one. And she made the second one. So she got the 2 points eventually. But it would have been nice if it would have been a plus one. 26-5, Vikings on top. And Spring Valley stepped in on the floor before getting rid of the ball. Get ridding, huh?
Is that in the Rick Dictionary?
I think so. Getting rid of the ball. I'll spit it out eventually. Vikings have it at the baseline. They get it out to Shipman. Over to Olsen, high, wide, and right. Now between the circles. Now over to Olsen from the right side. Three-pointer on the way. Nothing but net for Addison Olsen. And a timeout on the floor. Spring Valley wants to talk about this one. You're watching Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV.
Anderson Bridges, located in Colfax, Wisconsin, has been manufacturing prefabricated steel truss bridges since 1989. With hundreds of bridges supplied nationwide, we suspect you've crossed our path. It may have been on a pedestrian or bicycle bridge, or how about a snowmobile, ATV, or golf course bridge? Anderson Bridges is likely to have manufactured it. Founded in 1989, Anderson Bridges has been a family-owned company since its beginning and are proud to support the Colfax Vikings.
And we're back here at Spring Valley as the Cardinals getting ready to inbound. And they do. They feed it in. Vikings still putting some full court pressure on. They will probably do this most of the first half. If for no other reason, it will help them get ready for the WIA playoffs. And one of the things Coach Noel talked about, or not Coach Noel, Coach Serrar, we're doing the girls tonight, right? That Coach Serrar talked about was giving smart help. And that's what she really wanted to work on. So that's something the Vikings are going to work on a lot tonight. Spring Valley has it, tries the right baseline. No shot there, so they try to pass it out high. Vikings come away with the ball. They feed it down the floor and going up and no good by Harmon. Vikings get the rebound. Second chance shot is no good, and here comes Spring Valley with it. 29-5, Vikings on top. Ninneman with it. Feeds it into the lane to Schilling. And the shot is no good. Vikings come away with it. Olsen to bring it down the floor. She comes across the timeline and feeds it over to the left side to Shipman. Back out to Emily Bertram Schofield. Drives into the lane. Gets it out to Harmon. To Olsen from the right side. She hit another three. That's 3 threes for Olsen tonight.
Olsen has 11 points so far.
That might be her season high already. 32-5, Vikings with it.
Turnover.
And they steal it. Harmon has it, gets it down into the left corner. Feeding out to the high left side, and the shot is no good by Bertram Schofield. And the ball goes out of bounds.
Yeah, good job by Bailey Bradford to throw it off the Spring Valley player, and Colfax gets the ball back.
Emily Bertram Schofield to inbound it. They swing it around to Olsen between the circles. Now down the left side. Shot goes up from inside the arc. Is no good. And Spring Valley comes away with it. They get it across the timeline. Feed it over to the right side. Now coming down the lane. And they fed it off underneath, and shot was good. And I couldn't see who it was. It may have been Ducklow. Olsen has it for the Vikings. Down to the right corner, back out to Olsen. That last shot was by Schilling, by the way. Shot from the left corner by the Vikings is no good. Rebound finally chased down by the Vikings. They feed it down underneath. Shot goes up. It's no good by Shipman. And the Vikings chase it down. Olsen has it out high. Feeds it over to the left side. Back over to Olsen between the circles. Now over to the left side. To Olsen on the right. Three-pointer on the way off the back of the iron. And we're going to get a foul called on Olsen as she was trying to follow her shot, but forgot you can't go through the defensive player in the process.
That puts Spring Valley to the line for their bonus.
32-7, Vikings on top.
That's the way Addison Olsen plays. You know, plays a little aggressive. She's not afraid to get in there and scrap.
Well, you know, there was a coach many years ago that said something to me that, you know, when it comes to fouls, you got 4 to use.
Right.
And Addison has kind of taken that attitude to heart. Free throw is no good. Spring Valley chased down the rebound. Shot was no good. Second shot, no good. And the Vikings finally come away with it. Down the floor they come. Bovey feeds it off to the left side. Back over to Bovey. Then down into the corner to Irwin. Now back out to Bovey, high, wide, and right. To Bertram Schofield on the left. Cross-court pass back to Bovey. Now into the lane to Parker. Back out to Bertram Schofield. Long three-pointer is no good. Irwin trying to get the rebound, and we're going to get a jump ball called. Both Irwin and Paige Peabody were both going after that one pretty hard, and neither one wanted to let go, and that's how we get the jump ball. Down the floor comes Spring Valley. Hannock with it. She feeds it off to Peabody. Now back out high to Flanders. Back over to Schilling. And then it's Peabody, all on the right side. Feed it underneath to Schilling. The shot is no good. Bertram Schofield with the rebound for the Vikings. Not Schilling. Bovey with it for the Vikings. She's got it on the right side. Back out to Bertram Schofield. Then to Bovey, high, wide, and right. Over to Bertram Schofield, high, wide, and left. They're just tossing it back and forth out high. They're killing off some time. 32-7, Vikings on top. Over to Irwin on the right. Back out to Bovey. Back to Bertram Schofield. Then to Irwin. Puts up a three. It's no good. And here comes Spring Valley down the floor. The shot goes up. It's no good. And there's the buzzer to end the first half. The score at the end of half number 1. Colfax Vikings 32 and the Spring Valley Cardinals 7. We have Viking halftime coming up right now.
Time now for Viking halftime with this week's edition of Viking Profile and the Colfax High School Report. That's all coming up following this brief timeout.
I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous.
Time now for Viking Profile, where we take a closer look at one of the Colfax Viking players. And now, Viking Profile.
Today on Viking Profile, we're going to get to know Jasmine Best, a junior at Colfax High School. And we'll be chatting with Jasmine right after this message.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
We're talking with Jasmine Best on Viking Profile. And Jasmine, we know that you play basketball, but are you involved in any other activities at school?
Yeah, I run cross country in the fall and I do track spring.
Okay. And so when did you start playing basketball, and what kind of experience do you have?
I started in second grade and played up with the third graders at that time. And I've played AAU over the years, but...
Okay, and what's the most important thing that you've learned playing basketball?
That even if it's not good, you gotta have attitude, and even if the shots aren't going in, the next one will.
You know, that's a real tough lesson to learn, and if you've got that one figured out, you're way ahead of a lot of people. So when you're not playing basketball or you're not here at school, what are some other things that keep you interested or occupied?
I ride horse sometimes with some horse shows in there, and yeah, that's about it.
In fact, I think
actually.
You've seen us covering some of those horse shows, I think, and as people look back in our archives, Folks, you can see Jasmine Best doing stuff other than basketball by checking out the NLWN-TV YouTube channel. What else do you like to do?
Not much, really, actually. Kind of sit on a lot.
Well, and taking care of horses takes a lot of time, too. So,
Yeah,
all right, I've got a few
that's
rapid-fire questions for you. Just say the first thing that pops into your head.
Okay.
Pie, ice cream, cake, or cookies? What was that? I'm sorry, it kind of broke up.
Cake.
Cake? All right, any particular kind of cake?
I like chocolate.
Okay, yeah, me too. You know, with the real thick, gooey chocolate frosting. Yeah. Yep. Now I'm getting hungry. All right, Jasmine, your favorite color and why?
Probably red. Takes most of my wardrobe from the school I go to, so.
Okay. Now, if you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
It'd be invisible because you could really go anywhere you want to.
Yes, you could. And you could find out things that maybe you're not supposed to find out, but you'd be awfully curious about. Like tagging along behind somebody while they're doing Christmas shopping for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I get it. All right, do you have a favorite NBA or WNBA team?
The Bucks, just because they're in Wisconsin and.
How about a favorite college team?
Probably just Wisconsin.
Okay.
Just when you go, like, have that like jump on atmosphere, and yeah, pretty fun.
All right. So we're talking with Jasmine Best on Viking Profile. And Jasmine, what are your plans for after high school?
I would like to college, where yet, or what I'm gonna do. So still have to figure that out.
Yeah, yes, you do. You've got plenty of time yet. How about a shout out to your family?
Hi, Mom and Dad. Thanks for watching all my games and supporting me. And hi, God, if you're watching.
Now, when people do watch Viking games on NLWN-TV, what number do you wear and what position do you play?
I'm going to be wearing number 2 this year. I'm usually the point guard.
Okay, and we want to thank Jasmine Best for joining us today on Viking Profile. Coming up next is more Viking Halftime.
You've been listening to Viking Profile. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Time now for the Colfax High School Report with an update about what's happening at Colfax High School.
At Colfax High School, last week, the girls Viking basketball team went 3-0 and ended the week on the doorstep of clinching their third straight Dunn St. Croix Conference Championship. Following Viking victories over Elk Mound, Glenwood City, and Mondovi, the Vikings finished the week riding a 9-game winning streak and have a record of 11-3 overall and 11-1 in the Dunn St. Croix Conference. The Viking boys had 4 games last week and went 1-3 for the week. Following a victory over Boyceville, the Vikings lost games to Durand, Elmwood Plum City, and Elk Mound. The week's action left the boys with a 4-8 overall record and 4-5 in the Dunn St. Croix Conference. Now, coming up this week, the Viking girls are looking to three-peat their Dunn St. Croix Conference championships with games at Spring Valley on Monday and Durand on Thursday. That will wrap up the regular season for the Viking girls. We will carry both of those games on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV with Viking pregame at 6:55 and live play-by-play starting at 7:10. The Viking boys are scheduled to host Boyceville on Monday and Glenwood City on Tuesday before traveling to Mondovi on Friday to take on the Buffaloes. Also this week, the middle school girls basketball team will host the Durand Panthers on Thursday. The Viking dance team will compete at the dance state competition in La Crosse on Saturday. Also this week, senior scholarship applications are due by Friday, And the ACT test is Saturday, as well as the FBLA Regional Conference. Now, next week, the Viking boys travel to Spring Valley to take on the first place Cardinals on Monday, and they will host the Durand Panthers on Thursday. We will carry both of those games on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV with Viking pregame at 6:55, live play-by-play at 7:10. The middle school girls basketball team will host Boyceville on Tuesday, and next week, it's Winter Carnival Week at Colfax High School. And that's what's happening at Colfax High School for the week of February 1st through the 6th.
You've been tuned to the Colfax High School Report with an update about what's happening at Colfax High School. Stay tuned. Coming up next is more Viking halftime and then second half action.
You've been tuned to Viking Halftime. Stay tuned. Coming up is second half action of today's Viking game on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV.
And taking a look back in at Spring Valley High School, where the Vikings have a 32-7 lead at halftime. And Dan, why don't you tell us how we got there?
Yeah, here's the scores right now for Spring Valley Cardinals.
This will be a short list.
Yeah, we got two girls. Number 24, Kyra Schillings, has 4 points, and Maddie Olson, number 14, has 3 points.
Well, that adds up to 7.
For the Colfax Vikings, they've got a deep bench already. They got 9 girls with points. And leading the team right now is number 10, Addison Olson, with 11 points. Followed by Riley Parker with 4. We have McKenna Shipman with 3, Jasmine Paulus with 1, Emily Bertram Schofield with 3, Maddie Barstead with 2, Marissa Harmon with 3, Bailey Bradford with 3, and Jillian Bovey with 2.
32-7. We're getting ready to start the second half. Marissa Harmon to inbound the ball for the Vikings. She gets it into Addison Olson, who brings it across the timeline. Olson feeds it over to the right side. They get it back out high to Barstead, puts up the 3. It's no good. Or Paulus chases it down, but it gets taken away by Spring Valley, and down the floor they come. Over to the right side, that's Peabody with it. Try to feed it down to the baseline. It goes off the leg of Bradford, and it will be Spring Valley ball on the baseline. Maddie Olson to inbound it. Long inbound pass. She gets it out high to Peabody. Back over to Olson. Then to Ducklow. Then in the lane to Schilling. Turns around, puts it up, no good. Rebound taken down by the Vikings. Here comes Barstead all the way down to the baseline. Feeds it back out high to Paulus. Over to Olson on the left. Out high to Barstead. Now Olson has it between the circles. Olson takes it around to the right side. Gets it off to Barstead, who lays it up, and it goes in. Maddie Barstead with 2.
Maddie Barstead with 4 points so far.
34-7, Vikings on top. They get it over to the Spring Valley, gets it over to the left side. Try to feed it into the lane, gets taken away by Barstead. Puts up a jumper from the lane at the other end. It's no good, and the rebound gets chased down by Ninneman. She feeds it off to Peabody. Or check that, that's Ducklow. Turnaround jumper is no good. Rebound, Ducklow puts her own shot back up. Schilling tries to grab the rebound. It goes out of bounds off of Olson, I believe, of the Vikings, and Spring Valley will have it. By the way, we have a score in the boys' game, partial score with 1:32 to go. The boys are leading Boyceville 40-32. And we had a foul on the Vikings. Inbound pass. They finally get it in to Burkle. Burkle drives towards the lane, puts a shot up. It's no good. Came up short.
Barstead feeds it down to Paulus, puts on the brakes, defensive players fly by her, and then she puts up a jump shot and in. Jasmine Paulus with the nice move down underneath. Just let everything fly on by and then go on up all by yourself. Maddie Olson with it, feeds it over to the left side, and we're going to get a travel called on Lily Ninneman. She tried to put the brakes on in the lane and feed it over to the right, but her foot came back down and she got called for the travel. Addison Olson for the Vikings across the timeline, feeding it over to the left side to Barstead. Barstead stops at the free throw line to Olson, puts up the three, no good. Barstead gets the rebound, puts up the shot, and it's in. Nice layup by Barstead. 38-7, Vikings on top. Maddie Olson, and she and Barstead are scrapping for it. Ball goes out of bounds. Last one off of Maddie Olson. Barstead inbounds it to Addie Olson. This time it's for the Vikings. She comes across the timeline, takes it over to the right side, feeds it off to the right wing to Barstead, down into the lane. Or check that was a pass to Best, who tried to feed it to Barstead in the lane. And we're going to get a foul from behind on Spring Valley. Olson feeds it in to Bertram Schofield, cutting down the lane, laying it straight up and in. 40-7, Vikings on top. And we have a timeout being called by the Spring Valley Cardinals. You're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV.
You're tuned to the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV. We use advertising revenue to make this service available to you. If you have a business and would like to get your message out to our ever-increasing audience, give us a call at 715-563-1749. We'll be happy to discuss our budget-friendly advertising packages with you. Get your business noticed on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV by calling 715-563-1749.
Yeah, we're back looking at Spring Valley High School as the Cardinals bring it across the line. They feed it down the right side with Schilling. Now the ball comes back out high and they lose the handle. It's picked up by the Cardinals. Shot goes up from the corner, is no good. Vikings have it. Coming down the floor, Olson puts on the brakes, puts up the shot, and it goes in. Addison Olson almost had that ball going out of bounds. She was able to plant her feet and put the shot up and have it go in. 42-7. Cardinals have it. Vanessa fed it off to the side, and we're going to have a timeout on the floor. Another timeout as the Cardinals want to talk about it again. You're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV.
NLWN-TV is excited to present NWARCI's Racing Action. Next Saturday, February 6th, we will present racing from Cal's Resort on Rock Dam Lake in Willard, Wisconsin. Join us at 10:45 a.m. from Rock Dam Lake in Willard. These races are sponsored by Cal's Rock Dam Resort in Willard. That's NWARCI's Racing Action on Saturday, February 6th on NLWN-TV.
Are your pooch's proportions putting on pounds? Or is your kitty's constitution constantly complaining? Well, stop by and see the friendly folks at the Colfax Animal Hospital. Dr. Bruce Buckley and his staff will be happy to help you get your family friend back on the road to healthy living. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Call them at 715-962-3380. Rick Olson along with Dan Petchow as we take a look in at Spring Valley High School. Vikings on top, 42-7. Spring Valley has the ball out high. Mara Ducklow takes it over to the right side. Feeds it down into the right corner to Paige Peabody. Back
underneath the Schilling, puts the shot up and good. 42-9. Here come the Vikings down the floor. Best with it. Gets it over to Shipman as they're on the right side. To Irwin. To Riley Parker, feeding it down underneath. I believe that was Emily Bertram Schofield putting the shot up. And we have a whistle and a foul. Oh, check that. It was Jasmine Best putting the shot up. Because she's the one going to the line because they got fouled on the way. First shot is on the way. It's good. And Best is going to get her second shot here. It's also on the way, and it's also good. 44-9, Vikings on top. Spring Valley brings the ball down the floor. Takes it around the left side. Cross-court pass, little high and out of the way of Paige Peabody, and the Vikings will have it. Viking defense really causing a lot of troubles for Spring Valley. Jasmine Best brings it across the timeline. She's got it between the circles. Feeds it over to the left side to Bertram Schofield, who passes it off on the right. They kick it back out high to Parker. Over to Best. Now back out to Parker, high, wide, and left. To Irwin, who drives the left baseline. The shot is no good. And here comes Spring Valley down the floor. Olsen with it. She gets it out to Ducklow. Ducklow puts up a three. It rattles around, goes out, and out of bounds. Off Spring Valley. Vikings will have it. And the Vikings inbound the ball. Down the floor comes Best. She feeds it over to the left side to Shipman. To Irwin from the top of the key, off the front of the iron, no good. The ball gets knocked out of bounds. Looks like it's going to be Spring Valley ball. 44-9. Vikings up by 35. Taking it down the right side is Ducklow. She feeds it down to the right corner. Then they get it back out high to Flanders. Try to feed it into the lane, and we have a loose ball being fought for on the floor. I think they called it a jump ball. Possession arrow in favor of Spring Valley. They inbound the ball to Vaness. The ball gets tipped out of bounds. And it will be Shipman for the Vikings inbounding it to Jasmine Best. Best across the timeline between the circles, feeds it over to the right side. Take it down into the right corner with Irwin. She kicks it back out high, and we have a whistle. And we've got a foul on Spring Valley. It's their third team foul. Pass gets inbounded out to Best, then out high to Bertram Schofield. Then into the lane to Shipman. She puts the shot up and in. A nice move by McKenna Shipman. 46-9, Vikings on top. Spring Valley with it, Maddie Olsen with it. Then they get it down into the left corner, feed it into the lane. Shot goes up and in, and drawing the harm is Charlie Vaness, and she's going to go to the line for the +1. So Spring Valley finally into double digits. And Bradford and Knoll into the lineup for the Vikings. Jeanette Hajdukovic into the lineup for the Vikings. Vanessa's shot is up and it goes in. Hit the front, hit the back, and then hit right in between. 46-12, the Vikings on top. Feed over to Bradford. Then over to the right side and down underneath for the Vikings. Shot went up and over the rim. but a foul in the process. Jillian Bovey going to the line for the Vikings. First shot is up, it's good. And the second shot's on the way. It's also good. 48-12. Vikings up by 36. Maddie Olson feeds it over to the left side. Then a shot from the left corner. Three-pointer. No, they're saying she was inside. Well, they gave her the three. 48-15. Bovey with it. Gets it out to Knoll, down into the left corner to Hajdukovic, to Irwin, tries to pass it across the baseline, and it gets taken away by Spring Valley. Feeding it down on the left side, down underneath, the shot goes up. No good, it was blocked, and now we have a foul underneath. And that foul is going to be on Tyler Knoll. Third team foul on the Vikings this half. First shot is on the way, and it's good. Dan, did you see the number, who that's at? Oh, that's Ducklow at the line. Second shot on the way, it's good. It's like we were saying at the last game. There ought to be a rule about long ponytails that cover the number. Makes it really tough for those of us who have ancient eyes. Vikings have it. Pass across the lane, over to Irwin from the left corner is no good. Rebound taken down by Spring Valley. And down the floor they come. They feed it out between the circles. Over to Olson, over to the left side now to Graham, and down into the corner, and underneath the ball gets knocked out of bounds. Last touched by Spring Valley. Evidently last one to touch it was Charlie Vaness, and the Vikings will bring it down the floor. Bovey with it between the circles. She wanders off to the right side, feeds it to Knoll at the top of the key to Hajdukovic, puts up the shot and draws the foul. Shot doesn't go in, but Jeanette Hajdukovic will go to the line for two. Her first shot is on the way. And the second shot, nothing but net that time. 49-16. Down the floor come the Spring Valley Cardinals. They feed it over to the left side to Graham, then back out high, then over to the left corner. Shot goes up and it's taken away by Knoll, who feeds it over to Irwin coming down the right side. Get it back out high to Knoll. Cross-court pass to Hajdukovic. Feeds it to Knoll from the elbow. Shot goes up, no good. Rebound gets chased down, and coming away with it is Spring Valley. Down the floor and trying to put it up is Maddie Olson, and she goes down hard, but the shot doesn't go in, and the Vikings come down the floor with it. Trying to feed it underneath to Hajdukovic, and it was a little hot for her to handle, but it didn't go out of bounds. Spring Valley has it. Down the floor come the Spring Valley Cardinals. Between the circles, coming down the right side, feeding it out to Maddie Olson, then over to the left side, back to Olson, to Ducklow, back out to Olson from the top of the key, no good on the shot. Coming away with it are the Vikings. Down in the corner, Irwin with the shot is no good. Rebound going to the Spring Valley Cardinals. Graham with it, feeds it over to the left side, down into the left corner, turnaround jumper from the left baseline by Charlie Vanessa is no good, and the Vikings come away with it. Down the floor come the Vikings. Bradford, now they get it out high, three-pointer on the way is no good. That was by Jillian Bovey, and here comes Spring Valley. They feed it down underneath to Vanessa. Ball gets tied up underneath. And I guess we have a jump ball. And the possession arrow's in the favor of the Vikings. Number of substitutions going on for both teams. 49-16. Vikings on top. Coming down the floor is Jenna Goodell. They feed it off to the right side. Now they try to feed it into the lane. To Reen, gets it out high. Over to Goodell, back to Reen. On the right side, trying to feed it down to the baseline to Hajdukovic, and it get tipped out of bounds. Goodell to inbound. Gets it to Hajdukovic, puts the shot up, it's no good. Rebound taken down by Spring Valley. They're over on the left side, driving over into the lane. Flanders tries to feed it inside, and it gets knocked out of bounds by the Vikings. Spring Valley to have it. Feed it in underneath, and the shot is no good. Rebound taken down by Parker, and it gets batted around and out of bounds. Last touch by Spring Valley. Ball got knocked out of Parker's hand. She tried to get it back, but then Spring Valley, trying to get it control, knocked it out of bounds. Goodell feeds it over to Noel. Then they get it over to Reen. Over to Goodell on the left. Coming down underneath. Shot goes up and in. Checking the number on that one. I believe that was by Reen that made that shot for the Vikings. And a shot goes up for Spring Valley. (51-18). And the shot by Spring Valley, by the way, I think was by Charlie Vaness. And a shot goes up for the Vikings, but we have a whistle as the ball got knocked out of bounds on the rebound. So the Vikings will inbound it. Jenna Goodell to inbound. Spring Valley inbounds it to Lydia Hannock. Takes it across the timeline. Feeds it out to Burkle on the right side. Turns around, takes it to the lane. Feeds it into Flanders. Flanders at the free throw line. Gets it out high, and the shot goes up is no good. That was a shot by Ninneman. And the rebound is chased down by Molly Hydorn. Hydorn has it out near the center circle. She takes it over to the left side, gets it out to the top of the key. Shot goes up, no good. Rebound being chased down. It goes out of bounds. And we're going to get a foul. Foul on Spring Valley. It's the 7th, so the Vikings will be shooting. Jenna Goodell at the line for the 1-on-1. And Noel comes into the lineup. Parker goes out for the Vikings. Jenna Goodell. Shot goes up, it's good. So she'll get the bonus. Second shot rattles around and out. It's no good. Partial score on that boys game. They're in the second half. I didn't see the time left, but the Viking boys are ahead of Boyceville by a score of 53-39 in the second half. Viking girls have the ball as they bring it into the forecourt, get it out high to Noel, puts up the three, no good. Rebound, well, there isn't one. It just goes out of bounds, and Spring Valley will have the ball. Kylie Flanders to inbound it. She gets it to Hannock, takes it up across the timeline, stops between the circles, now comes down the right side, gets it out to Ninneman, high, wide, and right. She drives to the baseline, then gets it out to Flanders. Down underneath, the shot goes up. We have a whistle and a foul. And the shot was by Schilling. It did not go in, so she goes to the line for two. First shot is up and good. One of the things we can't tell you right now, because we don't have a clock visible to us, is if we're in running time. I would think we probably are. Second shot is on the way. It's good. 54-19. And we have a timeout on the floor. So, with a timeout on the floor, you're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV.
You have a high-deductible health plan. Opening a health savings account at Dairy State Bank will allow you to save tax-free dollars to pay for a long list of health-related services allowed by the IRS. Dairy State Bank HSAs are serviced locally and work like a regular checking account. You can use a debit card or check to pay for expenses and access your account through online or mobile banking. Visit DairyStateBank.com to learn more about HSAs and online or mobile banking. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
And we're taking a look back in at Spring Valley High School. Vikings to inbound. Pass comes in, and it goes out of bounds. So Spring Valley will have the ball. It did get touched by Hydorn. So the pass comes in now for Spring Valley to Burkle. They get it down into the left corner. That was Peabody down in the corner. Now they get it out high to Hannock. And a shot goes up and in by Ninneman. 54-21. And we have a foul. By the way, we have a score for you in the boys game with 11 minutes left. It's the Viking boys 57, Boyceville 41. At the free throw line is Molly Hydorn. First shot goes up, and it's good. So she gets the bonus. 55-21. Hydorn's second shot is good. And down the floor comes Spring Valley. They get it over to Ninneman, feeds it over to the left side, out high to Flanders. Flanders gets it over to Hannock. Hannock's shot gets taken down by the Vikings and then tied up. Possession arrow in favor of Spring Valley. Hannock tries to get it in, and ball gets tipped and goes into the backcourt, chased down by Spring Valley, and they bring it back into the forecourt. They get it to Ninneman, who takes it across, feeds it over to the left side. Now they feed it back to the right. Hannock chases it down, gets it back out to the top of the key. To Burkle down in the right corner. And the pass into the lane gets picked up by Heidorn for the Vikings, and down the floor she comes. Molly Heidorn with it. Gets it over to Hajdukovic, then over to Knoll on the left side. Back out high to Heidorn. And we have a push being called on Burkle. Molly Heidorn to go to the line. That's the 9th team foul on Spring Valley. So still a 1-and-1 for Molly. First shot is up. It's no good. Rebound, and it got batted around and finally off of Tyler Knoll before it rolled out of bounds. So Spring Valley will have it. Down the floor they come. Burkle has it between the circles. Gets it over to Ninneman on the right side, then down into the right corner. The shot is no good. Rebound taken down by Spring Valley. They feed it over to Schilling, who puts it up off the glass and in. And we have a timeout on the floor. So with a timeout, you're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
And we're back looking in at Spring Valley. Rick Olson along with Dan Petchow. Vikings on the verge of wrapping up their 3rd straight Dunn St. Croix Conference Championship, or at least a share of it this year. We'll find out for sure if it's all theirs on Thursday. Vikings bring the ball through the backcourt. They feed it to Hajdukovic, high, wide, and left. Then to Reen. Free throw line extended on the left. Then they get it back out high. Hajdukovic gets one hand on it, and the ball gets loose and goes out of bounds. .8:40 to go in that boys game. It's the boys 62, Boyceville 46. Shot from the left corner, swatted into the next county by Jeanette Hajdukovic. That's one of the best rejections we've seen all year.
Jeanette Hajdukovic coming into her game here in the second half of the season.
She went up and just swatted that smack against the bleachers. Spring Valley inbounds it, takes it over to the left side or right side of the lane. Shot goes up, it's no good. Rebound gets fought for, goes out of bounds. Last touch by the Vikings. Spring Valley to inbound. They feed it in and off to Vanessa, who puts the shot up off the glass and makes it count. 56-25. Vikings on top. And evidently the Vikings did something wrong with the ball there because it's a turnover. So Spring Valley has the ball. They inbound it. Hannock with it. Then they get it out high. Hannock has it out high. Hands it off to Graham. Graham feeds it over to the left side to Ninneman. Back over to Graham. Feeding it into the lane. Turnaround jumper by Vanessa is no good. We have a whistle and a foul. Vanessa's going to go to the line for 2. That'll be the 5th team foul on the Vikings. Charlie Vanessa for 2 shots. Or check that, that's Schilling. Thank you, Dan. First shot was off the back of the iron. That's probably my fault for calling her the wrong name. Second shot, see? It goes down when I call her the right name. Kyra Schilling with the free throw. 30-point lead for the Vikings. 56-26. They feed it over to the right side. Coming down the floor with it. Reen with it. Gets it to Goodell, then out high to Heidorn. Over into the right corner. Three-pointer goes up by Jenna Goodell. And down the floor comes Spring Valley. Graham with it. They feed it over to the left side. Shot goes up, no good. Noel comes down with it, and they lose the handle on it. Noel picks it back up. Down the floor, feed it down low, laying it up, and in by Jeanette Hajdukovic.
All right, I'm cheering on Tyler Noel and Abby Irwin, and we got Ainsley Olsen left.
Well, Ainsley isn't suited up for this one. So it's just those two girls left to score?
Yep.
All right. Spring Valley with a turnaround jumper at the baseline by Kyra Schilling is good. 61-28, Vikings on top. Heidorn takes it down the floor. Feeds it to the top of the key underneath to Hajdukovic. Lays it up off the glass. No good. Rebound taken down by Spring Valley. And down the floor they come. They feed it over to Flanders on the right side. This is Graham with it on the right. Takes it to the free throw line. Back over to Ninneman. Now out between the circles to Hannock. Drives into the lane. Puts a shot up. It's no good. Rebound chased down by Spring Valley. Shot goes no good. And Schilling tries to put a shot up. It's no good. And a battle for the rebound underneath. And we get a jump ball. Possession arrow in favor of the Vikings. So Tyler Noel to inbound. Molly Heidorn. And we have...
End of the game.
And it is. That's the final score tonight. That's what happens when we don't have a clock that we can see. The clock runs out, so the final score, Vikings 61, Spring Valley Cardinals 28. Dan, the Vikings are Dunn St. Croix champions, at least no worse than sharing that title this year, as we head with one game left. 61-28. Vikings come out on top. I'll tell you what, we're going to have Viking post game right after this timeout. You're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? But now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Roll over. Chance high five. All right. When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. And your mother and... I am totally a hot person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Thank you for joining us for Colfax Viking Girls Basketball. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV. Stay tuned. Coming up next is Viking Post Game, where we'll take a look back at today's Viking game.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Time now for Viking Postgame,
with a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking girls game. And now, Viking postgame.
Well, Rick Olson, along with Dan Petchow, back here at our studios for NLWN-TV. And boy, oh boy, Dan, 61-29. Got to be impressed with Viking defense tonight.
Yeah, their Viking defense is really scrappy. Their press in the first half kind of took the game over. Spring Valley just didn't have an answer for that. Yeah, and the girls, they crashed the boards good on defense. Lots of rebounds, transition offense. Just kind of ran away with this game.
Well, you've got a bunch of numbers there, and I really want to emphasize a bunch of numbers, especially on the Viking side of things. Why don't you tell us how we got to that 61-29 conference championship score?
Yeah, here's the scores for Spring Valley Cardinals tonight. Their leading scorer was number 24, Kyra Schilling, with 14 points, followed by Charlie Vaness and Mara Ducklo with 5 each. We had Maddie Olson with 3 and Lily Ninneman with 2 for the Colfax Vikings. Everybody set
okay, here we go.
So we have 13 girls with points tonight. And their leading scorer tonight was number 10, Addison Olson, with 13 points, followed by Maddie Barstead with 6. And then I'm just going to go through them all here and read them off. Number 12, Jillian Bovey had 4. Bailey Bradford had 3. Marissa Harmon had 3. All right, Maddie had 6. Emily Bircham Schofield had 5. We had Jasmine Best with 2. We had Jasmine Paulus with 3. We had McKenna Shipman with 5. We had Riley Parker with 4. We had Jeanette Hajdukovic with 3. We had Jenna Goodell with 4. And we had Molly Hydorn with 4. So 61 points.
And there were 2 girls that got a fair amount of playing time, just didn't get any opportunities to put the ball through the hole. And so 13 girls scored, a nice performance by the Vikings, and it makes it extra sweet that the Vikings get to wrap things up and be conference champions for the third year in a row, third season in a row, a Viking three-peat.
Yeah,
so,
good job by Coach Gerard to pick up right where Coach Doucette ended.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, we'll come back with a few final thoughts right after this timeout. You are tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV.
NLWN-TV is excited to present NWARCI's Racing Action. Next Saturday, February 6th, we will present racing from Cal's Resort on Rock Dam Lake in Willard, Wisconsin. Join us at 10:45 a.m. from Rock Dam Lake in Willard. These races are sponsored by Cal's Rock Dam Resort in Willard. That's NWIRCI's Racing Action on Saturday, February 6th on NLWN-TV.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Rick Olson back here with Dan Petchow. And Dan, we've had the privilege of covering the conference champion Colfax Viking girls for 2 years in a row now.
Yeah, great job again for Colfax to start right over and get to the finish line.
Guess that means we have to get a couple more T-shirts, huh?
Right? Yeah.
And so, we do have some more stuff coming up here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV. In fact, the next girls' game is scheduled for Thursday night when the Viking girls travel to Durand for a Dunn St. Croix Conference matchup with the Durand Panthers. And that game takes on some interesting, there's some interesting things about that game because right now the Vikings have a 1-game lead over the Panthers. With 1 game left, the Vikings can do no worse than tie for the conference championship. That's why we've been saying what we've been saying about that. However, if they want to win the championship outright, they have to win on Thursday to get the championship all to themselves. So that ought to be some good motivation for the Vikings. And the Panthers are going to have a little bit of revenge involved in that because the Vikings beat the Panthers fairly significantly here in Colfax a few weeks ago. So that ought to be an interesting one. The next boys game that we're going to cover on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV will be next Monday, 1 week from tonight, when the Vikings travel to Spring Valley, right here, the same place, to take on the first place Spring Valley Cardinals. And we're going to bring you that game remotely with Viking pregame at 6:55 and live play-by-play starting at 7:10. Don't forget that our next coverage, as you just saw an ad for just a minute ago, of live NWIRC ice racing will be this Saturday, June 6th, from Rock Dam Lake near Willard, Wisconsin. Our live coverage is scheduled to begin at 10:45 on NLWN-TV. However, last week we discovered sometimes out on these lakes you don't have enough bandwidth to get a good video signal out. And if we experience that same issue at Rock Dam Lake, like we had this last weekend from Otter Lake, we will simply broadcast the day's events on Sunday, February 7th, beginning at 7 a.m. So hopefully there's enough of a signal that we can do 10:45 on Saturday. Otherwise, it'll be 11 o'clock on Sunday for NWIRC ice racing. And don't forget, we have Classic with Soda racing action coming up when we rebroadcast 7 of last summer's races from the Eagle Valley Speedway with a few added features. I know that I got a bunch of interviews that John was able to gather for us, and we're going to have those as some of the features before the races, and that'll be coming up. We're going to start it in March. March 17th will be the first day for Classic with Soda racing action. All of that coming up here on NLWN-TV. Dan, your thoughts?
Yeah, just congratulations to the team tonight. It was a big team effort. Everybody did a great job, both ends of the floor. Good job by the coaches to get the team ready to win their conference title.
Going to be a happy bus ride home.
Yeah, right.
Well, congratulations to Coach Serrar and the Viking girls on a 3rd straight conference championship for the Viking girls. One of those was a shared championship, ironically, with the Durand Panthers also. And this year's could be a shared championship, might be Vikings outright, depending on what happens on Thursday. And, of course, Dan, we're going to have that all for them to watch on Thursday, right here on NLWN-TV. And if you want to just listen, it's on the Northern Light Webcasting Network. So for Dan Petchow, this is Rick Olson, and you've been tuned to Viking Postgame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV.
You've been listening to Viking Postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking girls game. You can catch Colfax Vikings games by tuning in to any of the Northern Light Webcasting Network outlets. This has been a production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.